Right, we're up here at Hazelcote Farm, Tetbury, and it's, I think you could just about call this sunny. Anyway, it's a small gap between the never-ending rain, and I've managed to drag James Cox, who farms up here, away from loading some fertiliser today, just to talk us through a little bit about what's happening with the oilseed rape crop this year. James, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so this is our oilseed rape crop. This was planted at the end of August. It had a fairly sticky start. We're suffering from the fact that we can't use the neonicitinoid seed treatment anymore, and so cabbage stem flea beetle attacked it for the first month as it was growing. Last year it did a lot more damage. This year the crop had just enough moisture, although it was quite dry at the time, to establish.
So what is cabbage stem flea beetle, and how do these seed dressings help protect these crops?
So cabbage stem flea beetle is, as its name says, it's a little beetle, and it's very keen on the oilseed rape plant when it's young. So it feeds on the green tissue, the leaves and the cotyledons as the plant is just first growing, and they're such a voracious feeder that actually they can totally destroy individual plants by just actually eating all the green material, and then obviously you've got nothing to photosynthesize. They're a bit of a double whammy with them because they also obviously produce a larvae when they're breeding, and they burrow into the stem of the plant. So although this crop has actually probably survived the first attack from the adult, what we don't know is in the spring whether the number of larvae are going to actually damage the crop further.
Right, James, can you just tell us a little bit about the crop oilseed rape, what it's for, and why it's so important in the UK arable cereals rotation?
Yeah, so in oilseed rape, the actual product when we've produced it is used for its oil content. You'll see it in things like your mayonnaise, cooking oils, and the rape meal. So what's left after they've crushed the oil out is then also fed into the livestock industry as part of a feed. It's a hugely important break crop for arable farmers. You know, you can't grow continuously cereal crops, and it's a different species. It's very important to be able to have a rotation around your farm. The area that we used to grow in this country 5 years ago, we're now down at 2/3 of that area because of the issues we've had with cabbage stem flea beetle. So we're only just planting about 400,000 hectares, and it's a worry that we aren't going to be producing enough for the crushes that they use in this country.
From what I understand, we don't have a particularly level playing field at the moment in terms of the tools and chemistry that we have available to produce this crop in this country compared to how other people are producing it in the rest of the world and over the water in the EU. Can you tell us a little bit about the trade situation and imports at the moment and what's happening with this crop?
Yeah, so as I said, the area of this crop is reducing because we're not allowed to use neonicotinoid seed treatments, but they are allowed to be used in other countries abroad, particularly in the Ukraine. So we're not actually producing enough oilseed rape in our country to keep the crush going, and the imports now, between July and October this year, about 200,000 tonnes of oilseed rape has been imported, and nearly half of that has come from the Ukraine, where they use neonicotinoid seed treatments. And we're exporting our environmental conscience by, not being able to grow a crop here because of a banned substance, but over in Ukraine they can use it quite freely.
Is this doing more damage than good to our pollinators? What are your thoughts?
Yes, well, I mean, I think there's two aspects to it. I mean, the first thing is the science on whether the seed treatment is actually causing damage to the pollinators. There's scientists that will argue that either way, but I think the unintended consequences of the ban is the thing that we've actually now got 2/3 of the crop that we used to have being produced in this country, and as you say, that yellow flowering crop, early spring foraging for the bees was so important, and they've now lost that massive area that they used to be able to forage in. Whether the neonicotinoid seed treatment was affecting them or not, by banning it, we've actually done them harm by reducing where they can actually forage in the early spring. So unfortunately, the unintended consequence of this ban has been detrimental to the bee population, in my opinion.